And thank God the guys loved me enough to hang in with me. We were up on the Starship, I remember it, and Rob Cooksey or somebody, or maybe Tony Edwards, our friend, came to me and Blackmore's going to leave, and I went, oh, wow. Then I went and thought about it. I might have had a drink over it, and I probably would have not slept on it. And I thought, you know something? Wow, we better quit. You know, how can you replace? Would Led Zeppelin ever think of replacing Jimmy Page? It's impossible, right? It's impossible. So I was getting ready to, you know, figure that, you know, if David would have said he was going to go, I would have probably gone. And at this time, I'd become mates with David Bowie, and he and Coverdale convinced me, and Lordy, that we should get another guy in. But it was, how do you replace somebody like that, you know? And my first thought when I came out of my haze was Clemson from Humble Pie, a guy from Birmingham who I really liked. And Clem came over to the States. We flew him over and we stayed at my house in Beverly Hills, and we auditioned Clem. And he was fantastic, but he didn't, and no disrespect to you, Clem, because you're amazing, didn't have that factor of stepping into, you know, a major eccentric player like Blackmore. We needed somebody that had some flair as well as playing wonderfully. Clem played absolutely wonderful, but it wasn't quite right. And the next thing, Ian Pace and David Coverdale were raving about this Billy Cobham album called Spectrum, where there was an unknown guitar player from the Midwest called Tommy Bolin.
And wow, this guy is astonishing. And I'd heard his work on an album called Spectrum with Billy Cobham, which is an astounding album, an utterly astounding album. And there was Tommy Bolin just shredding away like mad, and it's just gorgeous stuff. All improvised, all just off the top of his head. Marvelous, marvelous stuff.
So, I remember I'd been up with Bowie all night, maybe a couple of nights, and I peeled myself away from his house and drove down to Pirate Sound to audition this new guy, Tommy Bolin. And I remember it very clearly. I was coming out of the bathroom, and in walks this guy, dressed very sort of femininely, and he had green, red, orange, purple hair. And I went, oh, fuck. If you don't get the gig, you're coming to my house tonight. We're going to party. Because I knew he was a party, I could tell.
Tommy, it was almost impossible not to love Tommy Bolin. Delightful man. Flawed, enormously flawed, and damaged by his addictions, but wonderful guy.
To be honest, at first I didn't think it would work. I really didn't. But we had a jam, and like within the first minute or two, you know, I could tell that they were into the same things I was into.
I had absolutely no idea when he joined the band that he had an addiction. It was California, mid-70s. I mean, goodness me. I mean, what was he going to be drinking milk? You know, I mean, I knew that obviously he was a rock musician. I mean, he was going to be sniffing a bit of that and smoking a bit of this and drinking a bit of the other. But I had no idea that he was truly desperately addicted.
He got the gig effortlessly because he had all the charm and eccentricity and swagger. Unlike Ritchie, in a different way. He just had something else going on, and he was a guitar hero, and the Echoplex happening, and he had this tremendous amount of confidence and to be in a band of that size. He got the gig effortlessly. He played wonderfully, and we jammed on a couple of things. He really didn't know too much about Deep Purple, which was also a good thing. So it was a blessing to have somebody come in that was a rough diamond. So he came to my house. He didn't leave for about a month, and I put him up at my house, and then Tommy eventually found a house. But now I had also a friend we could party with and drink with and have fun with and hang out with, and we didn't really do anything but leave. We stayed in that house the whole time and just, you know, wrote a couple of things and went down and started to rehearse with the rest of the guys in Purple for what was to be an album called Come Taste the Band, you know? And Tommy was drinking one night, and he was quoting this, come taste the wine, come hear the band. He mixed it up and said, come taste the band, and that's the name of the album. It was just a slip of a drunken slur one night.
The best thing one can say about Come Taste the Band is that if you listen to it now, it's a surprisingly good album. It's terrifically well put together. Like I said, it's wonderfully played. Everybody's playing well on it. It's wonderfully sung. Tommy's guitar playing is par excellence. Pacey's drumming, absolutely at the peak. And the worst thing you can say about it, and it's not that bad, is that in most people's opinion, it's not a Deep Purple album, but it makes a terrifically good rock album of the period. It's very much of the period. In fact, I think it's a bit ahead of its time. Don't forget what was happening back in England at the time was the beginnings of punk, you know, and bands like Purple, which were viewed as sort of huge, pompous rock edifices, you know, that were being sniped at by the punk, and probably quite rightly, by the punk revolution, which blew all the kind of stuff that we believed in away. So the fact that it was made at all at that time is fairly remarkable, considering that Ritchie had left and that Tommy was a compromised musician. And very shortly after, sadly, not that long, he was dead. So, you know, it's important to remember that the circumstances in which it was made. And it's a terrific album under those circumstances. It's a terrific album under any circumstances.
All right, here we go. A couple of songs for you.